What's going on, y'all? So we're gonna talk about how to buy properties using creative financing, especially a powerful strategy like lease option that a lot of people don't know that you can offer homeowners market value for their property, as long as that you buy that property on terms. So I'm just waiting on my guy to hop on in here, Gene. Like we're gonna go over how to structure them deals on where to look for them at, how to even write the contract up, right? Because you need the documentation to make this stuff work. So we're gonna get on here and we're gonna definitely show y'all from step by step on how to purchase these lease option properties, and definitely get you going. So, because a lot of people like they talk about wholesaling or they talk about fix and flip, right? But no one goes into depth about what happens when you can't get funding for a fix and flip property, or what happens if the numbers just don't work for a wholesale deal. So you still can get you still can turn around and definitely get that property flip or wholesale. Like it's still numerous of ways to obtain that property. My boy, he just literally just joined on. What's going on? What's going on?
There he goes. What's happening,
There
man?
you go, man. Nothing at all, man. Just explaining to people that what we're going over. So we're gonna be going over that lease option strategy of how to acquire property like without even getting financed. And you can still offer property. I mean, homeowners market value will still make 20, 30 grand on that same house, man. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So for those who watching, I am Lonzie here. I'm the creative finance king, and I got the Champion Real Estate Institute where I teach people on how to go out and locate these deals creative ways, right? Not using your credit, not using the banks, and we show you guys how to manage and get these properties, all creative, man. So it's tons of creative ways to go out and obtain properties and definitely make a living from doing these creative deals. So I'm gonna let my boy Gene go ahead and have the floor as well.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Gene Boykin from the Go Getter family, and I do the same thing. I do the same thing as Lonzie. Creative financing, subject to. And today we're going to be talking about the creative financing aspect, which is a lease option. A
Yeah.
lease option. You don't have to get approved for credit. You
Yeah.
don't need to. You don't have to go get a loan. You don't have to show W-2s. Any of that stuff. We can buy a house, and make a huge profit using the lease option strategy. Lease option and sandwich lease option is,
Yeah.
another, is part of that strategy. There are so many ways that we can construct a deal without going to the bank by becoming the bank. It's amazing. There isn't really anything that you can't do. So that's what we're going to talk to you guys today about, is the lease option. So we don't want you guys to think too now, because I was talking to Lonzie about this the other day, that we just talked about subject to. So people might think that you can only buy a house that has debt on it, that has a mortgage. Well, that's not true. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We can buy houses that don't have mortgages on them as well. And this is one of those strategies. So
Yeah.
thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you. So yeah, so definitely let's talk about how to actually find these properties, right? So so what are some ways that you go out and about and actually look for a lease option property?
Now, lease options, most of the time they're owned. They're owned outright, by a
Yeah.
person. Now, they don't have to be, but a lot of
Yeah.
the times they are. So what I like to do with the lease option is I look for sale by owner, FSBO, for sale by owner.
You go.
Because a lot of times they're tired landlords.
Hmm.
They're investors where things didn't go right, or they need some help. So for sale by owner. I'm kind of old fashioned now. I'll look into classifieds, and
Okay.
I even now one of my strategies is this: people that have homes for rent, if they're
Hmm.
renting a home, a lot of times people say, I want to become a real estate investor and I'm going to rent my house. I'm going to be a landlord. Well, once they start landlording, they see that isn't it. That's not
Right.
what's up. So they're tired of it. So I'll reach out to people that have houses for rent, and
Hmm.
I'll talk to them and see, pretty much, because what we're doing is we're pretty much renting it, from them until we own it. But
Right.
we're giving them all of the benefits of being a landlord without the headaches.
Right.
So that's the beautiful part about it. So yeah, I like to talk to houses for rent, for sale by owner. Your local newspapers are going to be huge for you. Huge.
And I definitely use the houses for rent. Like I love them because they already primed for it, right? But it's just now you got to have that conversation with that homeowner and ask, are they looking to sell later on down the line? So that's something I always use as well. I'm like, okay, well, you rent the property out for how much, right? I want to figure out what they renting for, figure out that market value of the rent value, right? And then I also want to negotiate that. If it's a little bit higher, I want to negotiate it. And then I always ask them, hey, are you looking to sell, right? Are you looking, because because of course doing this lease option strategy, the goal is to get that homeowner to sell the property. Like you don't want to just rent the property.
Right. Yeah. No.
Yeah. So you definitely want to ask them if they're looking to sell. So I definitely look on different sites like Zillow, Realtor.com and stuff like that, like who have these search engines where these homeowners is putting their properties on, right? And then like just give them a call and say, hey, I see that the property 123 Main Street is for rent. How much for rent? And then like you go down them lines. Of course, like I'm big with using a realtor as well, a real estate agent. So the real estate agent, they send me expired listings.
I gotta grab my headphones real quick.
They want to sell. Yeah. So these homeowners, they still want to sell. So if you get you a good real estate agent that's on your team who can send you expired listings, you can call them homeowners, right? Skip trace and call them. And then what you can end up doing is getting in touch with that homeowner and see if they want to rent that property out. And do a lease option strategy on them expired lease because they still looking to sell. So definitely, that's definitely a good tool is to use your real estate agent. Use these free apps out here. So that's one way how to find them. And then to just literally having that conversation with that homeowner.
Absolutely. I got to give a shout out to my man too, man, Captain Indy from New York City. He's watching right now, and he is in the middle of renovating an investment property that he purchased. And he and I we bumped into each other on Instagram when he was in the middle of that transaction. So he's watching today. So that shout out to old Captain Indy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what Lonzie said was right though. We don't need to spend a bunch of money. There are these free sites out there that have a lot of information for us. What it's about is the quality and the context of what we're bringing to the table, the value that we bring to the table. And the value that we bring is the knowledge of how to get these things done creatively in order to make life easier, on this landlord. He's no longer going to be a landlord. We must have to do this. Okay. So with a lease option, and let me explain this lease option a bit. I'm sorry for not explaining that, guys. A lease option, what it is we're going in and we are renting to own this property is what it is. Yeah, that boil it down to basic terms. Yeah, we're renting to own this property and we set an option out. So the option portion comes in where we say, okay, we're going to pay you this amount per month. And then after 3 years, we'll purchase the home outright.
Right.
We'll purchase it outright. Now you can set that option for whenever you want. The good part about this is, right, we just have to make these monthly payments and we'll find a renter to make them. But I don't know about y'all, but I know 3 years from now, I'm going to be in a much better situation,
Yeah.
So by setting that option out, it gives us that time to grow. And we can make that purchase outright, or our lessee that's leasing it from us, they can exercise that option and make that purchase. And we make our money off of this. When we go negotiate with these landlords, these tired landlords, or these homeowners, we have to get it at a lower monthly rent payment so that we can charge, my minimum I like to go is at least $250 a month. I like to get $250 a month passive income. So if they're renting it out, for $700, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to rent that out for $950, but I'm going to talk them down a bit because we're taking that headache away from them. Okay. So they'll get their monthly lease payment. And then with the person that we're leasing it to, we'll catch the spread on that. And then there's the down payment. And I use air quotes because it's not a down payment. It's an option fee.
Yeah.
A non-refundable option
Non-refundable.
fee.
Yeah.
Right. And that goes towards the purchase price.
Yeah.
When they exercise that option, it goes towards the purchase price, but we put that in our pocket immediately. That, so we can use that for whatever we'd like. So I go with a $5,000 minimum.
Okay.
So yeah, they pay that $5,000 for that lease option fee. We put that in our pocket. So that's our big chunk of money. And then we catch that $200-$250 a month spread on the monthly lease payment.
Now, do you give the homeowner anything up front to walk away?
Well, that's the thing. This is where the negotiating comes in. It just
Right.
depends on the deal. Now if it is a beautiful home and I really want this home, I'm
Right.
willing to give them, some money up front, a decent chunk of money up front. I really, do my best not to, because we don't want to spend that big chunk of money if we don't have to. And
Right.
a lot of the times, the best way to explain this, and this is the way I explain it to them, especially if it's a landlord, they've been landlording for years. I say, you know what, you're no longer going to have to go fix those leaky faucets and clogged toilets in the middle of the night. You can take that old rusty truck and that tool belt and retire those, because I'm going to turn you into a real estate investor now. Now you're going to be a real estate investor, and you just have to sit back and check your phone every first of the month to see that deposit going in your bank account. Other than that, we're going to take care of the rest. So you're going to have monthly income coming in, and you're not going to have money set aside for repairs, for maintenance, none of that stuff. You can relax and enjoy the life that you've built. This is what I tell them. And I mean, they really love that, because it's true. They can now enjoy life and not have that stress of worrying about, is my tenant going to call me? Is my tenant going to pay me rent on the first of the month? So this is how I break that down. So a lot of the times I won't have to put a big chunk of money up front.
Most definitely. So I do the same thing. Like I do the same exact way. But just like how you say, sometimes if it's a beautiful property and I'm putting something down and then I'm catching on the back end, like with that tenant. So a lot of times what we end up doing, like with that seller, is we end up writing that contract out and we just literally making lease payments, right? I normally write my contract out for 5 years because I want to give myself, just allow myself enough time. So if that first tenant buyer can't close on that deal, I got a second tenant buyer who can close on that deal. And if that second tenant buyer can't, I got a third. So I'm covering the bases with like with that 5-year term with the with the homeowner, right? And the good thing about it is that when you got the property for 3 to 5 years or whatever, you don't have to, even though that your first tenant buyer might not close, like you don't have to go back to the seller and rewrite a whole nother contract out, because your first contract with the 3 years is already set in place. You just taking control of the property, like you really controlling that property, and you are creating three checks, right? So you're getting a check from the deposit, the non-refundable deposit, right? Of course, like you're getting the cash flow, and then on the back end, once that tenant buyer cash out the property and actually gets funded, you get another check.
Yeah.
So 3 checks involved inside just one property.
Absolutely.
So, so you can have them conversations with them sellers, right? So you can have them conversations with them, and then it's so easy to turn around and rent that property out. So easy. It's so many that that is trying to rebuild their credit than there are who already got approved for a loan. It's way more buyers than there will be people who actually already approved. So you can turn around that property out quick, real.
Yeah, and for the people that just joined, this is the Creative Financing Academy with my man Lonzie Rattler up there in Flint, Michigan, with the Champion Real Estate Institute, and I'm Gene Boykin with the Go Getter Family Academy. And today we're talking about lease options, purchasing on a lease option, and then also selling on a lease option for those of us that just joined. Okay, so also now with this, we are not landlords either. So it's called a sandwich lease. we're buying it on a lease. Okay, so we're buying it with this lease option, the lease option, and then we are selling it on a lease option.
Yeah.
So when I tell them that, hey, you're now a real estate investor, well, hell, I'm a real estate investor too, so I'm not landlording either. So
Right.
we're leasing, yeah, we're leasing that out, and our lessee is responsible for the repairs, and they're responsible for the maintenance. So it's called a sandwich lease because you've got your seller. That's the one piece of bread. Then
Yeah.
you got me in the middle, right? I'm the meat of the sandwich, and then we've got our buyer. That's the other piece of bread. So it's a sandwich lease. We just keep this deal together. And guys, we're making money off of this. I want
Oh,
you to think, yeah, I want you to think about it like this. Um, I grew up doing a lot of different things, whatever, running around, running the streets, this, that, doing things that I shouldn't have did. But I grew my intelligence off of that. So we
mhm.
all have the ability to do this. We do have the ability to do this. We just need to learn that knowledge. So we can run around, doing certain things out there in the streets. We can absolutely put on a button-up shirt, throw on
There,
a tie, and do
there,
this. Yeah,
there.
we can do it. So we got to make sure our paperwork is right. Lonzie,
Yeah.
what agreements do you use for the lease option?
So of course I do use a standard purchase agreement, right? Everybody they have their standard purchase agreement.
Hmm.
Then for the seller, I use a lease option agreement. So I use a purchase agreement and a lease option agreement with the seller.
Hmm.
I turn around and I lease that property back out. I use another purchase agreement, a lease option. Then I also use a renter agreement with my tenant buyer.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's the three main paperwork that I use. But when you are reselling that property with the tenant buyer, you want to make sure that you take out the reoccurring lease from out of that lease option paperwork with the tenant buyer, because once they lease agreement is up after the year and a half or 2 years, like that you lease it out with that tenant buyer, you don't want it to reoccur. So you want to take that
Right.
leg out of there. So when they 2 years is up, they got to let you know. Normally I put in my paperwork that
Hmm.
they got 18 months to let me know if they can get approved for a loan.
You said 3 months?
No, 18 months. Like they
Oh,
got
18 months. Okay.
yeah,
I
like so
didn't
they
cut off.
rent the property out for 18 months. That last 6 months, they gotta let me know if they can get approved or not, because I'm
Okay.
starting that property immediately. Coming
No
soon.
problem.
Coming soon.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
Uh so that's the main paperwork I use: the purchase agreement, a lease option agreement, and a rental agreement. Them the three
Uh,
main paperwork that can make this make these transactions just smooth.
so you're saying though that with those three agreements,
Yeah.
when that option time comes up, they're separated because the option agreement, you don't want that to be noticed or involved
No.
on the back end
No.
if
Uh-uh.
they don't exercise it, right? That's if they don't exercise the option.
Yeah, if they don't exercise the option, it states in the paperwork that they got 6 months
Hmm.
before to let me know if they can exercise the option or not.
Okay.
And exercise, then of course they still can stay on the property for 6 months, but of course I'm already marking that property for another tenant buyer.
Right, right. That's smart. That is smart. And
Yeah,
yeah, I was talking to Lonzie last night because I only
yeah,
use two agreements, but
yeah,
I'm going to start using three. This is
yeah,
yeah, this is the joy though of networking
yeah.
and relationships, right? Because guys, I certainly don't know everything. I'm a lifelong student, and so Lonzie put me on game last night when I was asking him about, the agreements he used, and he told me three. So I'm gonna start using three because I use two. um,
Mm-hmm.
I use my option to purchase,
Yeah.
and then I use my tenancy agreement. Now, the importance of these two is this: there's the right of disposition, and then
Right.
there's the right of quiet enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, quiet enjoyment means that you can quietly enjoy the property. People can
Right.
come and go as they please. You can pretty much do what you want besides sell this property with quiet
Mm-hmm.
enjoyment. When you have that right, you can do what you want as long as you are sticking to the agreement, making your payments, things like that. So that is for the renter, the lessee. They get the quiet enjoyment. But so that's the tenancy agreement. Now the option to purchase, this is where our power comes in, because we have the right of disposition, which is selling it. and
Right.
making money off of it. And that's
Right.
our main thing, guys. We're in this to make some money. So
Right.
you have got to have these agreements separated.
You
You
do.
must. Yes. Because if you don't, you'll be tied up in the courtroom for Lord
Man.
knows how long, and you'll be spending an ungodly amount of money trying to, get your rights back to this place. So this is why I always say, your contracts are your most important and most powerful tool,
Very
Uh,
important.
yeah, absolutely. The Go Getter family logo, it's a shield. And that's on purpose. Our paperwork is so important, like it's our shield. It
Yeah.
protects us. So in your paperwork, when you're doing these lease options, and if you're a go-getter or if you're a champion, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna hit that pavement
Yeah.
because you know that you can do this now. I can go out and I can buy a house. I don't have to get approved for credit. I don't have to go to a bank. I don't have to show
None of
my
that.
W-2s. None of that. I don't have to show proof of income, anything. I can go talk to this person that I found on Zillow that's selling their house for sale by owner. Or I saw him on Craigslist. He's renting his house. I can go talk to this person and see if they will let me buy their house on payments because I have these agreements. And then I will
Mhm.
turn around and I will rent this house out and make a good chunk of money. You can
Most
hit the
definitely.
pavement. Yeah, you can go out today after the show
Most
and do
definitely.
this. Absolutely. And if you guys need help with the paperwork, I know Lonzie with Champion Real Estate Institute, he
Yeah.
has document packages, and the Go Getter family has document packages as well. And for those that are just tuning in, we're talking about the lease option and how we can buy and sell with that. This is the
Yeah.
Creative Finance Academy with Lonzie Rattler from Champion Real Estate Institute and Gene Boykin from the Go Getter family. And guys, Lonzie and I are going to be teaming up soon. We're in the lab
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And
We working.
whoo,
We cooking
yeah,
it. We cooking it.
man,
Matter of
yeah.
fact, everybody that's already on here, I want y'all to go ahead and share this to y'all story, right? So go ahead and share this most definitely because it's somebody out there who need this message, right? Somebody
Mm-hmm.
is listening who definitely need this message. So definitely go ahead and share this. But on the flip token of that, on each property, what do you think is the minimum profit that you can make on each property? The minimum. I'm just saying
Ooh,
minimum
okay. Talk to
profit.
me. Yeah,
I mean,
I like it.
seriously.
Yeah, I like it. I'm looking for my calculator. I'm like, man, where that calculator at? Because there's some money. There's some money
Yeah.
involved because there's the three ways that we make money now.
Yeah.
The first is off of that non-refundable lease option fee, that down payment, that
Yeah.
down payment. So I always shoot for $5,000 minimum. And it
Yeah.
just depends. It just depends on the property itself. If it's an ugly house, it's gonna be a little less. If it's a beautiful house, it's gonna be a little more. So I'm gonna say 5,000. So that's what I shoot for
Yeah.
a minimum. 5,000 on the lease option fee.
Yeah.
Then I shoot for 250 a month on the spread because remember, we're buying this on monthly payments.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pay them $500 a month. And guys, I want you to understand this too. We like to do no interest
Yeah.
loans from them,
Yeah.
right? So all of our monthly payments, it's going right towards that loan.
Mm-hmm.
It's going all towards principal only payments. So that's paying down, your purchase price when you got to exercise that option. So we're leasing it for 500. I'm going to charge 750. So that's 250 a month. So we'll say in a year, let me see, that's 24. That's what is that? $3,000.
Yeah.
250 a month. Yeah, that's 3,000. Okay, so there's 3K. Now on the back end, when we exercise that option and they actually purchase it, we're setting the purchase price higher than what we
Go.
purchased it for.
There you
You
go.
know, yeah,
There you-
we're setting that purchase price higher than what we purchased it for.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna say, and 15,000 it really is low on that.
Yeah.
It depends on the property.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say 15,000 just to be on the low end. Lonzie asked for the low end. So adding that up, you got your 5,000. Um, and we'll say it was a 3-year option. So you got your 5,000, the non-refundable lease option fee.
Yeah.
Then you got your 3,000 a year that you're making just on the monthly spread, monthly payments. So 3 years, that's 9,000. So there's 14,000 right there, and then 15,000 on the back end when
Yeah.
we sell it, and our buyer purchases from us. So that is 14. That's $29,000.
So hold on, guys. So hold on, right? So he just said, right, on the front end, once you sign the paperwork with that seller and you turn around and you rent that property out to your tenant buyer, right? That tenant buyer is bringing you $5,000 up front. That goes directly to your pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, he He is him and the seller, they got a price of $700. Let's just say $700 that he got to pay to the seller every single month.
Mm-hmm.
What he's doing, he's turning around and telling the tenant buyer is $950. He's
Mm-hmm.
getting $250 a month of free cash flow.
Yes.
So every year that he got with that tenant buyer, which he do 3 years, right? So that's $3,000 a month. I mean $3,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 369, that's $9 grand in passive income.
Passive.
Then he turned around and resell that property. So if he locked the deal up for $100 grand, like with the seller, he turned around and selling this property to that tenant buyer for $115, creating a $15,000 cash. I mean, a $15,000 back end. So there you go. If $29,000 that he didn't have to go get financed for, he didn't have to go show no W-2. He didn't have to go to the bank and say, "Hey, can y'all help me out on this property?" He didn't have to do any of that. None of that. To go acquire this property and control it. So you guys, look, listen. If y'all have not heard anything today, the word of today is control a property. If you can control a property, you can make tons of money. I don't care what you're doing to that property. You can rent that property out. You can sell that property as we doing on the back with that tenant buyer. So look, listen. It don't matter if you wholesaling the deal, if you doing fix and flip on the deal. If you don't know how to control the property, literally, if you don't know how to control, you're not you're not really maximizing your dollar amount on that property, because it's really the wholesale deals that wholesalers walk away because the numbers just don't make sense. Like, let's say, for instance, it's a beautiful property, right? And of course, a wholesaler got to get it, 65, 70% below market value, but the property need no repairs.
Yep.
So you have to literally take off your wholesale hat and put on a creative hat to tell that homeowner, look, I'm willing to give you $100 grand on the same property. I'm willing to give it to you. Can we do it on terms?
Yes.
And then boom, everything else, like you fill out everything else. All of that got to make sense. So definitely, if you don't know how to control the property, I'm gonna say this again: if you do not know how to control the property, you're not maximizing your dollar amount. You're not because wholesalers is only making 5, 10 grand a pop. Some of them is doing 20 grand, right?
Yeah.
But of course, like the beauty of controlling the property is that you are in control. You definitely are in control. So what's your
boy? Hey, Lonzie he wrapped that up well, and then just in that one statement gave you the game. Control the property. Control the property, y'all. When you are in control of anything, when you're in control of anything, you make the rules, and when you make the rules, you're going to set yourself up to win. I mean, that's basic logic right there. So with what Lonzie just said, and he brought in the wholesalers too. And I like that you brought that in, because wholesalers, I love wholesalers. I really do. They get a bad rap. They get a bad rap. Although I bumped into a couple of, some shysters, you know what I mean? But I can spot them out from a distance. But they leave a lot of money on the table. A ton, because you got to think, like Lonzie just said, you got to get that thing at 70%, 65% market value. Who in the hell is going to sell their house at 65% market value? Not many. So you damn near got to hit the lotto to get a deal. Yeah. So when you have this other knowledge, okay, you're like, okay, I can't get it 65, 70%. Well, let me use this other option I got. I can lease option this thing. You've got this knowledge. You've got to give yourself tools and options. When you do that, you open up a whole new world for yourself. You open up a whole new world. So you're getting that passive income. Every month, it's coming in like clockwork. And the thing about it is too, guys, I don't like to do fix and flips personally. So when and as Lonzie said earlier, we are dealing with a majority of the market, because most people cannot qualify for a mortgage. So the people that we're dealing with, they're in the mind frame of I got to come in and I've got to do some repairs, and I've got to do some improvements to this house that I'm going to be buying rent to own. So this is the mind frame that they're in. So when you go out and you hit the pavement after this show, and you get you a deal, you don't have to have a bunch of money to then fix it up to sell it. No, these people that we're selling to, they come in and they do the repairs and they do the maintenance and the upgrades to it. So we're not coming out of our pocket that big old chunk of money either.
No,
God, you can't lose.
Not at all.
I just put up some text messages between me and a seller that I
See,
just locked up another deal. You saw that,
yeah,
Lonzie?
I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. And guys, it was beautiful. It's all about how we negotiate too. That's why, Lonzie and I talked about some negotiating tools that we use, just just our language negotiating, talking. But yeah, I put up the text messages and the guy wanted 80,000 for his house, and I could only do 70,000. So I told him that. Well, we waited a few days, and he came back and he said 70. Well, this is the thing. We can get creative. So when he said 73,000, I said, you know what? I said I can do the 70,000 cash, and then it'll be a deal if you can take that other 3,000 over time at
Yeah,
$200 a month. So, and that's 15 months. So he pretty much just loaned me $3,000.
he didn't
You
even
know,
know.
Yeah, he didn't even know it. So I'm gonna get this big old chunk of money up front, and then give him the $200 a month over time. Well, I know what I can do, with an additional $3,000 that I don't have to
Mhm.
pay right now, and by us moving forward and getting better each day, we're gonna turn that $3,000, into 9,000, into 12,000, and the whole time I'm just paying him $200 a month towards it. So this just
That
goes
deal, right?
to the creativity of what we can do. Go ahead, Lonzie.
Right. So on that same deal, what is the projected profit on that same deal?
Ooh,
On
Lonzie,
that
you gonna love it.
same deal,
The
what's the
project.
projected profit? Because I know you had to go to a bank to go get a loan for this house. I know you had to do all that.
Hey man, hey, you on your mess today. Look at you. So the beautiful part is, I am the bank. I went into the Go Getter Family Bank, right? And I talked to my manager that I got in there running things for me. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so no, the projected profit on this deal, it's $41,000.
And
It's
you didn't have to
for
go to the bank.
I didn't have to go to the bank. And yeah, so I didn't show no W-2s, no proof of income, none of that, credit checks, any of that stuff. I didn't show any of that stuff. And the best part about this is I'll be making the passive income off of the place, you
Right.
know, and then and a big chunk of money initially. I've already got it lined up. I'm getting 5K out the gate. I'm getting
Okay.
$5,000 out the gate because I'm gonna lease option this thing out. So yeah, the projected profit on it is 41,000, and I didn't spend any money out of my own pocket for the purchase of this place. Now there's ancillary costs, driving around or whatever. I went over, cleaned the house up a little bit, stuff like that. So I'd say maybe I spent about 200 or 300 bucks.
Right.
But for
Right.
the actual purchase of the house, I didn't write a check and say, here for the house. I didn't spend any money out of pocket.
Yeah.
41,000 bucks, guys.
So and you not going in and renovating this house, like you ain't going in and demoing out the kitchen?
Nope. I'm not doing no. I don't know. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't do that. So yeah, I don't do that. This house is we have relationships around the city, and I preach this relationship equity. So with this house, it has asbestos siding. It was built in 1924, so it's pretty old. It's got asbestos siding, and it's probably got like lead paint in there because they used to use lead paint.
Yeah.
So I know people in the city that work for the city. One is the head of neighborhood services. The city has programs where they get grants from the federal government, right,
Hmm.
to do improvements and things like that. So this is what I do, guys. This is how I use relationship equity. When I put my lessee in there, the person that I'm renting to own it to, um, if I hook them up, I broker the deal for them and neighborhood services. So what happens is this: neighborhood services will come in if they meet certain parameters, like they have to make less than $75,000 a year. They've got to have a kid that lives there that is 6 years and under. And they can be renting the place or buying the place, doesn't matter on that. And they'll come in and they replace all that stuff for free. They replace all that stuff for free, and the people just have to live there for 3 years, because what they do is they put a mechanics lien on the property. It's going to
Yeah.
be in second place. That's why I always keep debt on my property. That's a little more advanced, so I won't get too deep. But
Right.
they put a mechanics lien on the property for that. Well, it's on the person actually, and then it's on that property while they're there. But for the 3 years, and 33% drops off the first year they live there, then the other 33% second year, and then the third year. All that stuff is done for free. All these improvements. So one, these people come in and they're buying the house. They're now a homeowner.
Hmm.
Two, they're getting these improvements done, and they don't have to pay anything, you know. And the third part, which is best to me anyway, is 9 times out of 10, they're not going to exercise that option. They're not.
Yeah,
They're just not. Yeah. So I'm gonna. Yeah. So they're not gonna end up purchasing that house. So I'm gonna sell it again, right? I'm gonna
right,
sell it again and again. But
right.
now I've got all these improvements that were done for free.
For free. For free. Yeah. So, hey, for those who, and me and Gene is talking about literally how to go out, how to think creative, right? Of
Hmm.
how can you control the property to make money on it without ever having to go into the bank. You don't have to
Hmm.
show no proof of funds that the wholesalers and fix and flip people they have to go show. There's no credit check involved. You just need to learn how to talk to a seller in order
Hmm.
to take control over that same property to make a profit and turn that property over to your intended buyer.
Yep.
So it's definitely a buying properties on lease options is definitely something that's very overlooked because not many people know what the hell they are doing,
Right.
but it's very profitable. It's
Yes.
very, like, just like Gene said, he about to make 41 grand on one property that he didn't have to go get finance for. He just know how to
Hmm.
control that property and he
Hmm.
know the right people to talk to.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's the whole thing, guys. So it's about the relationships, and then it is about knowing your contracts and the necessary contracts. If you have these two things, because with that, the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So you know some people, right?
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but you know what you know too, because you got these
Hmm.
contracts, so it's important. And Lonzie has some great contracts. Lonzie has some great contracts, great agreements. The Go Getter family has some as well. And there's specific ways that we say these things too, guys. I'm using the word contract now for the people that are watching and want to learn this, but I never use the word contract when I'm talking to a seller
Right.
or a buyer.
Right.
Never, never. I always say, and I'll give y'all this gem, we just need you to authorize the paperwork.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
They gonna
Yeah,
sign regardless. Like they gonna
yeah,
sign.
yeah.
Like,
Authorize the paperwork. See, it's all about
Um,
go ahead.
I see like that you got that property locked up. So the guy got to come back Monday or Tuesday of this upcoming week to sign that paperwork because he out of town or something.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just doing an addendum for that
Yeah,
3,000.
yeah,
For that 3,000 that I'm paying over
yeah,
time. Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm doing an addendum to the contract. That's why.
Man,
So
powerful,
yeah,
powerful.
yeah,
That
yeah. It's a beautiful
work.
thing, guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. We can what our people need to understand is these contracts. It's almost like growing up. We felt like we weren't able to do these things. That's how I felt. Like I was just not able to do these things, these sophisticated things. Guys, it is easy. It is easy. Now I'll tell you this: my mentor, who is a giant in this industry, this is what he says: it's simple, but it's not easy. So it is simple, but it's not easy. So we've got to get this understanding, and then we can do whatever we want as long as you're working within those rules and those parameters. So like Lonzie just asked me, about the guy coming back into town to sign this paperwork. Yep, because we agreed on 70,000
Hmm.
up front, 70K for the purchase price, and then I'm going to give him 3,000 over time. So we're just doing an addendum to the contract. So we're just adding that on to the original purchase agreement. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that, guys. So it's yeah, the possibilities are limitless.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely, man. So for those who need any help about doing creative strategies, how to locate properties down to how to put a check in your pocket, reach out to Gene. So Gene, how can they find you on social
Hmm.
media platforms?
Okay, I'm at the Go Getter Family, or the Go Getter Family on Instagram, the Go Getter Family on Facebook, and
Hmm.
then my YouTube is the Go Getter Family as well. So the Go Getter Family across the board, and then my website is gogetterfamily.com, and
Hmm.
there you'll find, we do credit. I've got a colleague that does credit repair as well. He does that for our sellers and our buyers, and then also for the Go Getter family members too. So we'll get you worked out, you guys. We have a bunch of options for you. So yeah, just hit me up. You can follow me, follow my Instagram. We're gonna have some big things coming.
Yeah, big thing. And the same for me. So y'all can follow me definitely, Lonzie Rattler on Instagram, Lonzie Rattler on Facebook. and Lonzie Rattler on YouTube. And I give out tons of information, so y'all can DM me on either one, or either platform. Like y'all can DM me because I'm very active on both platforms. And if there's something that we missed here, DM me, and then like we could talk about something that y'all want to know about next week. So it's definitely something eye opener for those who don't know how to do creative strategies, what paperwork to use, what language to use, like with the sellers. Just DM us, and
Yeah.
we'll definitely take care of you.
Yeah. All you got to do is, if you want some knowledge from the Champion Real Estate Institute and the Go Getter Family Academy, just DM us the word creative financing, and we have our team ready to put an action plan together for you to get you started on this, because that's
Yeah,
the hardest part, is just getting started. I mean, you got all these things. I don't know how to do this, or I don't have the paperwork for that. Just DM us the word creative financing, and we'll get you started. You don't even have to worry about that. We got it under control for you. And I always say this: you can't hit a home run if you don't swing the bat. And hell, you can't even strike out if you're not swinging it. You
right.
know.
Yeah. So, any closing words for him?
Yeah, guys. I always say this. Fear, it is a made up thing. It's made up. Fear is the thought that we're gonna fail in the future because we didn't do this right, or we didn't say that right. Okay, so that holds us back. But faith, it's made up too, but it's just the thought that we're going to succeed at our goal. And
Mm-hmm.
we have faith because we know that we put in the hard work and the dedication and made the sacrifices. So they're both a choice. You
Right.
can choose fear, which is going to hold you back, or you can choose faith, which is going to propel you forward. I always choose faith. Which one are you going to choose?
Seriously, seriously. We'll leave it out on that note. We'll leave it
Uh,
out.
all
So,
right, y'all.
all right, Cat.